Okay, just reading through your writing. Thanks for including this. This is really good stuff here. It really describes your experience with the assignment, and it tells me a lot about how you're learning and what you're learning. So I think it's really important for students to be able to express their intent regarding conceptual development and methodology associated with any given project. And you've done so here. This is certainly no exception. And I think it's a really great idea for students to um, get in the habit of describing their experience with assignments, not only for this class, but I think for all classes. And the reason I say that, Kaya, is because it helps us as instructors to learn about the way that you're learning. I can gather a lot about your learning process just based on your reading. So and for example, we're looking at this, you're talking about altering the hue and saturation. So changing the hue and increasing the saturation. And I think that makes sense. I think, if you've been to that part of the world, or even in beaches in Florida or domestic beaches, the color is just so vibrant, and that's how we remember things. So I think it's a good idea to try to present that in an ad that's representing that sort of environment. So I agree with that. Overall image was faded, so I altered to levels to improve the dark and a more realistic picture. Again, that makes really good sense, and that tells me that you know what you're looking for in the image and how to adjust it. So for example, when you say it's faded, typically we refer to that as being washed out, and that refers to the fact that the tonal distribution in the image is not as enhanced as it could be. So we can do a levels or a curves adjustment layer to increase that tonal distribution, adding more dark, deep tones to the shadow areas and adding more light tones to the highlight areas while maintaining detail in both ends of that spectrum. So again, good job. This is the part where I don't agree with you. I wanted to capture a color water, not that. This part, I want the water to be crashing on the shore. I disagree with that, and I'm going to give you my reasoning in a second. I have an image where the water seems alive, and I think the footprints of the sand had movements in the image once incorporated the American flag. Okay, the rest makes perfect sense. Okay, and then you have okay, so let's go ahead and jump right over to the ad. And I've got the ad right here. Now, what I said before about the where you said you wanted all this activity with the crashing of the waves, I think that in a way, I think that's counterintuitive to what you're shooting for here. And the reason I say that is because with the Amethyst Bay, with your client is this kind of relaxed atmosphere, this Caribbean beach relaxed atmosphere featuring relaxed waves, relaxed beach, relaxed atmosphere. So the crashing of the waves, I think that doesn't really it doesn't really preserve that kind of relaxed branding approach. I think that an image of really calm surf would go a lot further here. So if you take a look at this, for example, you've got this comparison. If you compare the image to what you're saying in the text, you're saying 20% off booking for military veterans and their families. Okay, so you're including families in here. So when I look at this, and when the viewer looks at this, they're going to see families in this scene in the image, right? The problem with that is that, I mean, I don't know many parents that are going to let their kids go in this water. This water looks somewhat violent, especially when we get out here. I mean, I'm just saying that this is not a kid-friendly image of surf. Okay, does that make sense? So in a way, in that essence, it's not preserving or enhancing the branding attempts, this relaxation branding of Amethyst Bay spa, resort and spa. Okay, for that reason, I recommend using a different background image. There's another reason I recommend using a different background image, and this one is probably more, let me see, where's my, okay. And this one is actually probably more important. So let's go ahead and zoom in. What I want to do is I want you to take a look at this area. You can see how it's starting to get blurry when we zoom in? See these little squares right here? Those are pixels. Okay, and this is indicative. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more in 1 second, so we'll really start to see this, but let's zoom in a little more. Okay, see all the little squares? See all these little squares right here? Those are all pixels, and those are indicative of low resolution, low quality image. Now, when we get down into some of these areas where we have this tonal change right here, you can see this kind of muddled areas. That's called compression artifact. You can read about both pixelization and compression artifact in the announcement. There's an announcement with those images. Where is it? This announcement right here. This one right here, pixelization and compression artifact. You want to take a look at that image, but because it's indicative of low quality, low resolution image, and this is definitely a low quality image. There's no question. I mean, you can see it actually without even zooming in. Now the glasses, I had mentioned this before in one of my earlier critiques in grading, but the glasses are also not the highest quality image. You can see compression artifact through here, pixelization through here. So at this point, my main concern is the actual image choice. I think these are really, really low quality images. As such, you wouldn't be able to print this ad, and it also would probably not be the most beneficial piece to include in your student portfolio. As hiring professionals and portfolio reviewers will be looking for high quality images in your portfolio work. So again, another probably maybe more utilitarian reason why you want to consider changing the background image and maybe even the glasses image to a higher quality image. As far as the ad itself goes, I think there's a couple of things. The page mechanics is pretty good. I think your type is a little bit too large, and what I would like you to do is print this page out in black and white on Quick Draft so you can see the spatial relationships of the type associated with the ad, and I think you'll see once you print it out, you're going to go, wow, that's really big, and it is. And I think that a lot of times it's really deceiving how large type can be when you're viewing a piece on screen. So I always recommend that you print the piece out and take a look at that type. This type is very, very large in relationship to the overall picture plane. Recommendations for improvement. Watch my cursor. I would say we're going to take this logo and move it down to this area right here. And the reason being is because, we typically enter a page top left and read right, left to right, top to bottom, making this a good exit area for a page. A lot of people will exit the page in this area right here. So placing the banner here will reinforce the branding of your client. I think this is a great logo position to place the logo. Now the glasses, as I said, I would recommend finding a higher quality image, but you can leave the glasses there. You can place the contact information. If you move the glasses or whatever you use for your master image up a little bit, leave a little bit of room. Watch my cursor. So let's say logo goes right here. It'll leave some room on the bottom so you can span the bottom with the address information, as we see in this example. Where are my examples? Where is it? This example right here shows the address across the top. Opening up this area at the bottom. So you feel free to do that. But at any rate, so here's my cursor. Watch. Okay, so headline, roughly something like that. Okay, and then place the subhead underneath it, something like that. And then you've got your body copy. I think the black is a little too stark for the headline. You can see it advance in the composition. Maybe just a dark gray instead of black here might be your answer. And then, and then just reduce the headline size and the subhead size. I think the subhead might be a little wordy too. You might try condensing that. And then you've got your there's new military. You've got your call to action right here, so that's great. So, anyways, those are my recommendations. If you have any questions or if I can make any clarifications, please let me know. I'll be glad to do so. But if you want to go ahead and work on these changes and resubmit, that's great. I'll be glad to provide additional comments. But I would like to see the changes recommended. I would like to see those reflected in your final magazine ad, which is due coming up here in a couple of weeks. So what you want to do is start making changes on your banner, on your magazine ad, so that you can reflect those changes in your banner ad. Now that we'll start working on next week. So I would say it would probably be best to work on this and get this squared away, and then start working on your banner ad. So again, as I mentioned, if there's anything that if you want to make some changes and run this by me again for additional critique and comment, I'm more than glad to provide that for you. So whatever you want. You can resubmit it here. You can email it to me. You can place it in the general questions area of the discussion board, whatever is most convenient for you, just to make sure that I get it and make comments before your final submission. All right, great job. Most important thing at this point is to remember, get with me quickly if you have any questions so that we can continue working. All right.